monthly service fee increase for you folks who get your increase September 1st. You know, we have a couple folks that do not get their increase till January, and I will be doing another presentation 60 days before your January 1st increase. For those of you who are here today, I've already kindly handed out your letters, and I'll hand deliver the rest. I had quite a few people that had conflicts. However, you've been here, done that, and heard it before. However, Ginger is recording it, so it will be available on 7/32 if you talk to anybody that was concerned about missing the meeting, and we'll put a copy in the libraries. So let's begin. So, as you may have heard before, and this still continues, we focus on our three constituencies, which means we're kind of like a three-legged stool. And those components are our residents and your families, our employees, and our shareholders. And as you're aware, our new REIT or ownership company is now called Janus Living, also owned by Healthpeak, who was formerly part of, who owned us, but now it's 100% in the portfolio, so great things, good things to happen with that to come. But all of that has to be in balance to be successful. You have to be happy, we need to retain our employees, and we have to, be financially responsible for our operations here, to our owners, for our shareholders. Because when you invest, and some of you may have already done that, there are rewards for that with dividends. So where do we begin here? Where do I begin when we do our budget? There are many components whereby we have to balance our goals. We continue to have challenges year over year, inflation, shortages, staffing, and we also need to align with our long-term mission and vision. We're ever evolving to maintain our services here. We can't just do status quo. We evolve, we grow, our residents change, demands change, and so we look at that. We look at that like 5 years out. When I'm doing a budget, we're actually looking at a 5-year period. And so by doing that, that's going to just create the success, not only in the future year, but in the years to come. So, in order to have a perfect budget, like I mentioned, we have our vision. We're looking beyond one term, 1 year. We look to have our budget to align with organizational mission and priorities. One of those priorities is technological, protecting your data, HIPAA compliance and protecting. And so as that evolves year over year and it becomes more and more expensive, but it doesn't matter, it's very, very important. It's important to us, and it's important to protect you. So many things evolve as we identify those priorities. We collaborate with our management company, which is our regional support. LCS is a leading leader in senior housing and has won many, many awards. So their expertise comes down to us to help us be successful year over year. And then we challenge these assumptions. We have conversations back and forth, which is very ideal in my experience, where you can work for a corporation and they're gonna just push down the budget and say, here it is, make it happen. We have to collaborate, and that's where our leadership team here can collaborate with our management company and really, really have the buy-in to be successful and meet your goals, their goals, and our missions. So why does your monthly service fee go up every year? So, inflation goes up. That's the main base of CPI, also called Consumer Price Index, okay? We look at that at a year-over-year increase. You'll see reports that'll go month by month. So we're looking at prior year to current year to to establish what that percentage is for your increase. So, and that's the change of consumers, prices paid by consumers for goods and services and reflect spending patterns. Those reports really delve into the detail of food, housing, oil, gas, utilities. But one thing that's not part of the consumer price index and that inflation factor is our labor costs. Labor is not part of CPI, the benefits, that's not. And probably close to 70% of our expenses are our wages and benefits. Now, we strive to provide a nice plan of choices for our employees to fit their lifestyle. So we increase those, we get costs. Sometimes the employer, we will assume those extra costs year over year, try not to pass them all on to our employees. It isn't inevitable that those benefits can go up, but we provide them with a nice platform of services that they can select from. So it fits their family, their lifestyle. They can choose to do extras, non-extras, but those are costs that are not included in CPI. Plus wages. We do studies around our metropolitan area based on positions, and that's where LCS helps us look at wages, competitive wages in our area. And we do have to, we look at our job positions. We look at where they are in the percentile. We do, year over year, have to make significant wage adjustments so that we're competitive. We need to keep our employees. They need to have a competitive wage. We need to provide them with benefits that help their dollars go farther and protect them. And so that is a big mission and a big goal to keep our community fully staffed. We have over 300 employees. Now that includes part-time and full-time, but that's a lot of people here. And I always like to tell a new incoming residents that you have 300 employees here to help take care of you for the rest of your life. And we like to see the longevity. I'll have been here 10 years in the fall. So in your particular contracts, because some of the others, the more recent ones, point to a different table. So your consumer price index, and just know that the most recent publication that came out June 10th was for May. So they report on the prior month. So I used the most recently available published consumer price index, which was May. And your area was for all urban consumers, US city average. And that percent change year over year was 4.2%. So again, just to reiterate, if you're talking with your neighbors, not everybody's getting a September 1st increase. You folks are. Everybody will get their individual letter. The other time frame is January 1st. I'll be doing that presentation 60 days before. Your contracts state that the increase is limited to the greater of 5% or the percentage increase in CPI. So therefore, your September 1st increase is going to be 5%. So that is the higher of. Do you remember 3 or 4 years ago when CPI was 6, 7, 8? And that was for the years that you had higher than 5%. So just a quick little analysis. I wanted to show you a few figures on inflationary statistics that we're seeing from last year to this year. Keep in mind that this is half of last year's statistics included with this 6 months or 5 months, so it's a little bit diluted and lower than you would expect for the whole year. But you can see where our food costs are at 4.8%. Utilities have gone up higher than the consumer price index. That's particular exact expenses here that we're experiencing. Property taxes are 4.8. We certainly need to continue our hourly fixed wage employee benefits. That was an average that we budget for. And all of our other departmental expenses, that housekeeping and the health center. What other departments do we have here? Maintenance, all of those on average are experiencing a little bit higher, 12.4%. That's because we're having some supply issues with certain things that, with things that are going on in our world today, where we're experiencing higher costs because of shortages of some supplies. So we continue our budget with labor, making sure that our market adjustments, if we need to make a market adjustment, and it's got to be higher than that 3%, and include what we like to budget for, not only improved benefits, but to get a raise in their benefits and try to keep up with the inflation factor. Now, that number was from last year, that 3%. It could be very much different going forward as we look at those costs. We continue to look at each departmental, which are how we're going to increase our supply spending, things like that. We look at that. Non-controllable costs, those are taxes, insurance, and the utilities. Those are non-controllable, so they are what they are. We just gotta, we have to accept those increases. We cannot negotiate some of those. So those could be higher. And then, we have to have a profit. We have to have a margin. And so we balance that. We balance our operational mission to a margin that is acceptable to our owners. And there is quite a bit of collaboration as we go through the budget season, collaborating with our management company. I have a small team of residents that I meet with weekly, and they are apprised of how we are approaching things. And then, when we're ready to present, then it's presented to our ownership, and they take a look at it and see what maybe changes they think we should make and accept what that margin is. So, we continue to look at you to partner with us, to help us be successful. Your eyes, your ears on the community. If you see something wrong, put in a work order, okay? Look for ways for us to be more efficient. You all have many, many, many years experience in your prior careers, so that's why we have departmental meetings, departmental with residents, so there's a resident board with each department. Those are times that you can either join the board or pass on your comments to share your ideas through those committees. And, adopt an ownership mentality. You live here, this is your home, you own it, we are here to serve you. We look to make our community greater, so allow us to do that. And I may have mentioned in my prior presentations, or you've heard it forum, we do offer a referral fee. So if you send marketing a name and address of somebody that might be interested, and that could be a year or two down the line, we'll get your name attached to it, and we do provide you with a referral check. So I think that's great. And that's the gist of it all. Something most of you have heard many times before, like I said. But are there any questions? Anything at all that I can answer for you? Yes.
We used to have 35 units empty for years,
Yes.
and now they're almost all taken. What's the difference now?
So what happens is, what Rosa was commenting to is that we hardly have any vacant apartments. And so we're still not at 100% occupied. It's kind of, as they come out, they're coming in, which is good. And you're right, at some point, there's a factor that we look at in our budget. So these are new This is a new situation that we're experiencing, so we will be having different conversations in our budget because you can max out, right? So we'll see what happens with our ownership and maybe an expansion, no guarantees, just saying. But it is a different budget process where you are 100% occupied and there will be limits to maybe growth in margin, possibly. Or, Earl?
Who owns this?
Janus Living owns us. Life Care Services is our management company hired by Janus Living. And
Janus is a profit-making organization.
correct. It is the new REIT that was just spun off from Health Peak. And what Health Peak did is they took all of their healthcare portfolio alone and put it into a separate one individually. We were only about 10% of their revenue because they were building physicians' buildings, and so a lot of those profits were being diluted with some of their other revenue generating operations. Now it is strictly healthcare. So that allows all of those profits to stay in the healthcare arena. Now they will expand, they will be buying other communities. That's part of the growth of the REIT. But good things, I think it's a good move.
Where are we in the standing or this community compared to the others that are in the same?
In the portfolio?
Yes. Yes.
I don't have that information. So my focus and Lindsay's focus is on ours alone. Sometimes we get some high level data about occupancy. And the same goals are what our other communities strive for. So maybe their occupancy is a little less, they have different challenges, they'll operate a little differently, but the goal is to be profitable and increase that margin year over year.
To speak to that, what I can say is that we are one of their flagship premier communities.
Yes, that's what I heard.
That is one of the most successful occupancy-wise, satisfaction, and financially viability.
Do you know how many are in our group?
So now Janus is really growing. I don't have that number as of today. It was initially the 13, but they're up to about 30.
Thank you.
Yeah, they've got other.
How many?
30.
And they're on the Health Peak website, and it has all of their, you can look at Janus, and it has all the communities that are under their umbrella.
You can go to the ownership website and they'll list all the properties there.
So LCS is working well with?
Yes,
Because they're a management company.
yes, they're they keep earning the customer service awards year over year. And so they help us to strive to be greater year over year. They have great experience in helping us. And they help me with like back office accounting and things like that. So they're well within their expense, and that's a standard operating expense in healthcare management company. Monica?
I noticed the September rate increase is 5%. Does that go for January also? Is that?
No, ma'am, that will not. It's a different contract. It's CPI plus 2%. So if that was your contract, it was 4.2. Your increase would be 6.2%. But we don't know what's going to happen in the next couple of months. It may go up a little, it may go down a little. But did you ladies have another question?
I thought one contract said it could not go higher than 5%, which I know they still have not.
It's either or. The higher of CPI, so if CPI is higher than 5%. I do have to kind of read it, but it's greater of CPI or 5. So if CPI is greater than 5, then
We had a couple of years, I think, where it was like 6 or 6.
yes.
That's what she was saying, and I, in my mind.
Yeah, and yes, and that's why, yes, CPI was 5. All right.
shareholder in Health Peak, how does that happen as far as Janice?
You'll continue to be a shareholder of Peak, that's their stock symbol. And if you want to invest in Janus Living, you have to buy stock separately. When they issued the IPO, the stock offering, when this occurred, that was their initial stock offering for that REIT. So you have to buy under Janus to be in Janus portfolio.
So I'm still you're a shareholder in Health Peak, but not Janice.
Correct. Correct.
Would you repeat the question?
Certainly. The question was, if someone has stock in Health Peak, or the stock symbol is Peak, does that transfer to Janus? No. Janus Living is a new REIT, and if you want to invest in them, you find their stock on the stock market under Janus and purchase stock there. And you'd have to sell your Peak if you wanted to. I mean, that's personal
And I have
choice.
a question.
Yes.
Are we supplying 3 plots now? What I mean by that is our LCS is the operator, right? The management company?
Management company.
Then you get some, does Janice get some, and Health Peak get some?
No.
Just Janice?
Just Janus.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes. Lou?
I think you better make it very clear to people here that they shouldn't leave here and tell all the rest of the people that their monthly service fee in January is gonna be the CPI that you mentioned now,
Okay.
plus 2%.
Right, so that was just an example for Monica's question, would it be the same? No. Their contracts are the current CPI, remember I used May, so I think I'll be using September's, so it's the future reporting period plus 2%. Do not repeat that it was 6.2, please. That was just a conjecture. Sorry about that. Yes?
Maintenance. We have, we take care of the grounds and everything, the buildings. But what about the individual apartments? If you've been here over 10 years, it should be like repainted.
Yes,
Things that
ma'am.
need to be done,
So Dee is asking about when an apartment turns over and needs to be remodeled. That is a whole different bucket of money that Janus gives us for capital improvements. It does not come into play in this budget here that I provided to you. It's considered a capital improvement and it's accounted for separately on the balance sheet and all kinds. But as far as operations and what I just showed you and what I'm responsible for and my team are responsible for, those expenses are not included in that information.
So if you want something done, you go through who? To get, I mean, after 10 years, your apartment needs to be painted. I've painted my own.
Right, so if it's not let's say it's not a brand new apartment that needs a full remodel. If you want anything done in your apartment, replace the carpet or paint. You would go through maintenance, and that will go through my operating budget. I will bill you, it's considered revenue, and it is part. But I don't budget for that because it's an unknown, it's kind of on an as-need basis. So that is not part of the capital expense.
So it's gonna cost the resident then?
No, because you're paying for it out of pocket.
That's what I mean.
Right, yes,
So
if you want.
Pay for it.
Mhm.
They're not
Yes.
gonna give you anything.
No.
Because after 10 years, let's face it, I mean, it gets dirty. I mean, as I say, I've painted my own kitchen and bathrooms.
Yes, you are responsible for that.
I have never lived anywhere that is so dusty.
Dusty, really, interesting.
Oh, yeah.
My
Mm.
bedroom just.
No, it's dusty. Not interesting, dusty.
Just dusty, okay. All right. Well, I appreciate your time today. Please call me if you want to meet one-on-one to discuss anything in detail based on your contracts, benefits, whatever you would like to discuss. I'm available for you. Just please call. Make an appointment, all right? Thanks. Been a great group. Thank you.